Only in the game just to get my fatty. And these lazy ain't got competition. It's me versus me, love Key Talk.
Key Talk Society, check it out. Before the video gets started, I need y'all to like the video. You know what I'm talking about? You know I'm gonna come with the content every day, all day. You know what I'm talking about? They like the video for me. Take 2 seconds. Anyway, check it out, man. All right. So today we got to talk about something that's actually happening inside of Alabama. You know what I'm talking about? So in Alabama, they're actually about to do the first execution using nitrogen gas. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, they pretty much said that they running out of the stuff for the lethal injection, so they ain't able to do that anymore. So they're currently trying to figure out new ways to execute people. You know what I'm talking about? And the way that they figured out how to execute somebody that they're about to practice on. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's funny. I'm not gonna say it's funny, but I mean, Buddy literally about to be the first person to get executed with nitrogen. You know what I'm talking about? We're gonna go deep into the story. It was a guy that killed somebody a long time ago, and it just so happened that they're gonna try to kill him with nitrogen gas now. So let me go ahead and get to actually reading it so y'all can actually see what it's all about. So it says, on January 25th, convicted killer and Alabama native Kenneth Eugene Smith is set to become the first inmate in U.S. history to be executed by means of nitrogen hypoxia. Never seen that word before. A method that Smith's attorney referred to as experimental, and one recently admonished by the United States. So they weren't going to do it at first, you know what I'm talking about, but now it looks like they're going to go ahead and try it on them. But what exactly is nitrogen hypoxia and how does it work? So it says, what is nitrogen hypoxia? Nitrogen hypoxia is a proposed execution method in which death would be caused by forcing the inmate to breathe only nitrogen, thereby depriving them of oxygen needed to maintain bodily function. God dang, they feel lock Buddy up in the room. You know what I'm talking about? Strap him down inside the chair and just cut off his oxygen, literally. You know what I'm talking about? Cut off his oxygen and cut on his nitrogen. So he's just going to be in there like this. Now, here's the thing. There are certain people that can hold their breath for minutes, you know what I'm talking about? And if they do the nitrogen to try to unalive him by nitrogen, if he doesn't actually die, then they can't try to do it again because they already tried and it didn't work. You know what I'm talking about? Like if you were to survive the lethal injection, if you got the death penalty and you survive lethal injection, then you will be still alive and they can't rearrest you because like they really attempted it already, right? So with that being said, Buddy gonna have to hold his breath for a long time. You know what I'm talking about? If he want to survive. Maybe they'll make a mistake. Who knows? Maybe this will be something that they'll broadcast. Maybe they won't broadcast. I don't know. But Buddy definitely about to get death by nitrogen, right? It says, how does it work? It says nitrogen makes up 78% of the air inhaled by humans and is harmless when inhaled with oxygen. The theory behind the execution method is that changing the composition of the air to 100% nitrogen will cause the inmate to pass out and then die from lack of oxygen. So it may be a painless death, actually, because they're saying that he would actually pass out and then die from the lack of oxygen. It's kind of like, I don't know if y'all played this game, but I used to be at parties and stuff like that, and they would like do this game to where they go against the wall and they put their hands like this and they hold their breath and somebody will push their chest in, you know what I'm talking about, and just hold their chest in until they passed out and then eventually they woke back up. So I guess that's kind of what this is, except when you pass out this time, they keep the nitrogen and keep your oxygen and then you don't wake back up. So but let me finish reading it. It says, what state have authorized nitrogen hypoxia? In 2018, Alabama became the third state, along with Oklahoma and Mississippi, to authorize the untested use of nitrogen gas to execute prisoners. However, lethal injection remains the state primary execution method. How does Alabama plan to carry out this process? Now, this should be interesting, right? It says, a mask will be placed over Smith's face, through which he will breathe a lethal dose of nitrogen. Oh, so I'm thinking they're gonna like put him inside of like just this big room and have like little smoke ceilings and then just cut on the nitrogen. You just gonna see the nitrogen. I'm thinking like some movie kind of stuff, but they're gonna put Buddy inside of like a mask. You know what I'm talking about? Like them little smoke masks. They're gonna put him in a mask and just fill him up with not oxygen, take the oxygen, but fill him up with nitrogen. So it says a team has been holding bi-weekly practice sessions to ensure the process will run smoothly, and the mask Smith wears will provide proper seal, according to the state. After Smith strapped to the gurney in the execution chamber, the state said in the court filing that it will place a NIOSH approval type C-full facepiece supply air respirator, a type of mask typically used in industrial settings to deliver life-preserving oxygen over Smith's face. The warden will then read the death warrant and ask Smith if he has any last words before activating the nitrogen hypoxia system from another room. The nitrogen gas will be administered for at least 15 minutes or 5 minutes following a flatline indication on the EKG, whichever is longer, according to the state. Oh, yeah, it ain't no surviving it then. They said they going to, talking about potentially keep it on for 15 minutes or until you flatline, talking about to the thing going ding. And then, talking about 5 minutes after that. So 5 minutes after you done died, and then they might cut it off. So it says the Alabama Attorney General office told a federal judge that the nitrogen gas would cause unconsciousness within seconds and cause death within minutes. So it will be a quick process, right? Will the process be painful? The state expert claimed that the level of nitrogen would lead to cardiac arrest within 5 minutes. They argue Smith should not suffer since the introduction of nitrogen will knock him out in moments. ADOC's nitrogen hypoxia protocol will rapidly reduce oxygen inside the mask, cause unconsciousness within seconds, and cause death within minutes. Alabama has adopted the most painless and humane method of execution known to man, Alabama Solicitor General Edmund LaCour told judges. Is this the same as the gas chamber method? It says not exactly. Obviously the gas chamber. Man, I didn't know they was putting people in gas chambers. I'm learning something right now. Is it the same as the gas chamber method? Not exactly. Some states previously used hydrogen cyanide gas, a lethal gas for executions. The last person to be executed in the U.S. gas chamber was Walter Legrand, the second of two German brothers sentenced to the death for killing a bank manager in 1982 in southern Arizona. It took Legrand 18 minutes to die in 1999. Dang. So what are the risks? No state has ever used nitrogen hypoxia to carry out a death sentence, meaning that the process remains untested. Not for long going to be tested on Buddy. Critics have likened it to human experimentation. I mean, technically, it definitely is an experiment because they've been practicing on how to do this. Like it just said, they've been practicing for like 2 weeks on how to do it. And hoping that it goes smoothly. So it's 100% is going to be an experiment. It says, in fact, the process is reportedly unfit to be used on most mammals. Well, not the humans, human mammals. The American Veterinary Medical Association enthusiast guidelines say inherent gas hypoxia is acceptable under certain conditions for the enthusia of chickens, turkeys, and pigs, but it's not recommended for other animals. Dang. Smith's lawyer argued that the state's plan is flawed and could subject him to prolonged and unconstitutionally painful execution to leave him in a vegetative state instead of killing him. They also argued that Smith could choke to death on his vomit if he gets sick because it would be inside the mask and could fill up his lungs. I'm going to be completely honest with you, bro. Whenever it comes to the death penalty and whenever it comes to prisoners, whenever it comes to prison period, there's not a whole lot of sympathy inside of America for that, obviously, because a lot of the prisons are private prisons and they're making people a whole lot of money that own the private prisons. So if anybody in America got super limited rights, it would have to be prisoners, because obviously we learned about the 13th Amendment on the other video that I did that said when you get arrested, you pretty much become a slave. So that's definitely a thing, right? It says, are there legal ramifications? The question of whether the execution can proceed will end up before the Supreme Court of the 11th Circuit of Appeals heard arguments Friday in Smith's request to block execution. So I guess they're trying to block him from actually, doing the execution. It says, after the court's rule, either side could appeal. Smith has argued that the state's proposed procedures violate the ban on cruel and unusual punishment. They definitely got an argument there for sure. Because this definitely sounds like some cruel and unusual punishment. All right. He also argued that Alabama violated his due process rights by scheduling the execution when he has pending appeals, and that the face mask will interfere with his ability to pray. I don't know about that one, but I do know that the lawyers know how to do a whole lot of tricks. So that may be a little trick that the lawyer's trying to do. And then it also says, we are alarmed by the imminent execution in the United States of America of Kenneth Eugene Smith through the use of novel and untested methods, suffocation by nitrogen gas, which could amount to torture or other cruel, inhumane, or degrading treatment or punishments under the international human rights law. UN spokesperson Ravina Shamdasani said the international organization called the state to not only halt Smith's execution, but to cease pursuing any execution of this nature site. And so the UN, right, the United Nations, which the United Nations is a place that people go to when they feel like a country is violating the rights of the people. You can go to the United Nations and say, hey, listen, this is happening in this country and they're violating the rights of this, and please step in. So the United Nations have actually stepped in, and they said that they don't think that this is right. They think that this is cruel and unusual punishment, right? But this is America. Honestly, America don't care what nobody else got to say. Maybe by the books we supposed to say what they got to say and understand. But in all actuality, America's going to be America and do what America wants to do, period. All right. It says we have serious concerns that Smith's execution in these circumstances could breach the prohibition of torture. Oh, I read all that, right? It says the group previously admonished the state's decision earlier this month, stating that they are concerned that nitrogen hypoxia would result in a painful and humiliating death. Organizations came together on the steps of the state capitol Tuesday with a letter containing tens of thousands of signatures. So there's a lot of people that's actually against this. A lot of people that's like I said, tens of thousands of signatures. So there's a lot of people against it. But that don't mean that that's going to stop America for doing whatever America wants to do. Because when it comes to the world and anything that happens, and even if there's rules, America does what America wants to do. And that's just the truth, right? But I'm going to just end it right there. Y'all kind of know what it is, nitrogen hypoxia. Y'all kind of know how Buddy's actually going to be, like I say, putting a mask on his face. And then, of course, putting him right there. Flipping the switch, obviously going to be some cords connected to it, letting the nitrogen in, taking the oxygen out. They said within a couple of minutes, he'll pass out. And then within a couple of seconds, he'll pass out. Within a couple of minutes, he should be dead, right? Should be. Don't know if it'll actually be. But they will be obviously looking at his heart rate. When a flat line actually happens, they said that they're going to flip the switch again after 5 minutes because he should be completely dead then, right? So we'll just see how it all goes. But yeah, this is wild. I just want to let y'all know. When I saw this, I was like, oh yeah, I gotta let the gang know about this, right? And I'm talking about they about to do a whole nother ways to execute people. Let me know something. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about this entire ordeal. I'm out.